What up, homies?
So it turns out
As it would be. Go on.
that Kamala Harris, she chose Tim Walz as
America's
her vice
governor,
president.
some have called him. Some have called him America's governor. Some have called him America's gracious uncle figure.
I'm glad she learned her lesson, which is to keep going on with the old white guy as her partner.
Well, because it worked so well the first time. It was fitting because she was saying we need to be woke, and nothing says woke like old white people. He is the DEI hire, just to be clear.
Yeah. And what we're gonna do, because no one really knows that much about Tim Walz.
I don't know anything about him. I only I'm learning that I did know who he was. I just didn't realize it was him, if that makes sense. It's almost like a killer revealed moment where it's all these stories you hear about like all these horrible like things during COVID with the riots. And for some reason, nobody knew who the mastermind was behind all of it until like today.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hilarious.
We're going to look at this article. It's called 19 Facts About Tim Walz.
So these aren't opinions.
This
is facts. Because nothing says facts. It's like an opinion piece. Doesn't say opinion. I'm just joking.
No, it's just New York Times by Simon J. Levien and Maggie Astor.
Well, it took two people to get this one made.
So before we even look at this, do you think the facts will mention that he let his state burn down and that he basically bribed people to force vaccines on their children?
Well, how is any of that his fault?
And that
he's a perfect being.
And that he
some have called
believes
him
in, child mutilation.
By mutilation, guys, just to be clear, we're talking about, just to be clear, when we say mutilation, we do mean chopping off penises. For anybody who's not sure what the word mutilate, like children, means, we aren't talking fingertips, even though I wouldn't put it past them. I'm not judging anybody, I'm just putting the facts out there.
Again, they might mention this, but he is one of the very few governors that fully endorses aborting a child up to birth.
It seems like he's okay with abortion all the way up till they're like senior citizens by the sound of it.
Well, actually, considering his COVID record and
putting
elderly people with COVID patients, I guess that would also check out. Maybe they'll also mention that.
He's up for aborting. Listen, he's not biased, okay? He's not a baby killer, guys. He kills everybody equally.
Yes.
That is wokeness isn't about killing one person or another. It's about killing everyone.
He is a borderline communist, and you know what?
Honestly,
I think it's a good thing that Kamala took this direction.
Yeah, I think she's smart and wise and beautiful.
Fact number one. Do they actually say
facts?
Fact
number one. I feel like Ben Shapiro popularized the word facts. I don't know what word they used before, but I don't think it existed until after he started saying it. And somebody could debate. You could debate me all you want, but you're wrong.
Number one, he is a very recent social media darling.
A very recent socialist.
Social media darling.
A social media darling?
Mr. Walz has enjoyed a groundswell of support online from users commenting on his Midwestern dad vibes and appealing to ordinariness.
Oh my gosh. Those guys, he's like your dad.
And appealing ordinariness.
He's like the dad that aborted you. Oh, you wouldn't know, would you? But
he started the whole weird thing.
He started the whole weird thing?
It was Mr. Walz who labeled former President Donald J. Trump and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, weird on cable television just a couple of weeks ago. The description soon became a Democratic talking point.
He started. #first.
He named a highway after Prince and signed the bill in purple ink. I think we can lay to rest that this is the coolest bill signing we'll ever do, he said.
Oh, he said. Self-proclaimed, I'm the...
Yeah, quote. He said as he put his name on legislation declaring a stretch of Highway 5 the Prince Rogers Nelson Memorial Highway after the musician who had lived in Minnesota.
I don't know.
I mean, that is a fact. That was a fact. Number 4, he reminds you of your high school history teacher for a reason. Mr. Walz taught high school social studies and geography, first in Alliance, Nebraska, and then in Mankato, Minnesota, before entering politics. Okay.
He clearly liked all the communist stuff.
Well, speaking of which, he taught in China in 1989.
Oh, now it's all coming together. Okay, hold on.
He speaks in Mandarin. He speaks in Mandarin. He went to China for a year after graduating from
And
college.
China's never been the same since.
And
So he introduced communism to China.
He is there trying to teach the Chinese English through a program affiliated with Harvard University.
He famously said, "I just don't understand what they don't get about it. It's English."
Number 6, he is a decorated veteran. Number 7, he was a rare breed in Congress, a Democrat from the rural Midwest.
Wait, what? I guess is that rare? I skipped to
Democrat
Midwest.
from the Midwest. Okay, number 8, he is a Nebraskan by birth. He was born in West Point, Nebraska, grew up in Valentine, Nebraska, attended high school in Butte, Nebraska.
I'm sure it's
B-U-T-T-E.
pronounced fancier than that.
And graduated from Chadron State College before moving to earn a master's degree in educational leadership from Minnesota State University, Mankato.
Wait,
Number 9, he got involved in politics after being barred from a George W. Bush rally. Number 10, the woman who trained him to run for office is now his lieutenant governor.
I think it's interesting that they put the way more like boring, like kind of realistic stuff later in the article, and they put all like the goofy,
The
like
weird.
he started Weird Guys. He's actually got a big social media thing going. You know, he gets the internet, kids.
He was an early supporter of gay rights.
Oh man, he was looking at and thinking that's pretty cool. To each their own. You know, I don't judge, but you're kind of gay if you're into that stuff. I'm just saying. So wait, is he gay? Is there a
Probably.
point to defending gay rights if you aren't gay? Like, is there any purpose to it? I'm not saying you got to like hunt down gay people. Like, I'm not saying you got to do whatever. I'm not inciting anything. All I'm saying is there any purpose to supporting something?
That doesn't benefit you.
Yeah,
in
it's like
any way,
I
shape, or
support
form.
bird rights. It's like bird rights, huh? Why is that? Well, if
Yeah.
birds need rights too. I'm not saying gay people are birds, but they are less than straight people. All I'm saying is like, what do they like add to society? Like, what are you adding to society by being gay? I guess you're like, I mean, I don't mind if somebody admits it. All I'm saying is, I don't know what they add to, like, what do they add?
I don't.
I'm not saying that. I should say, what do they add by being gay?
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of people that are gay that have
If
done
you're
things,
gay-
but is there anything that you're adding to society by being gay? Like, well,
specifically announcing it.
man,
and,
nobody could have done that but a gay man. I can't believe it. Man. You know what? Oh, I didn't think anybody could do it, but here, you know what? A gay person would be the one to do it. Usually that's followed up by disturbing imagery.
Yeah. Should we continue? He has shifted politically on other issues. Okay. He was.
Oh, that's a fact?
Yeah.
Oh, he shifted politically on other issues other than what? That one? That's the only one he's super strong about.
He was more moderate than many Democrats during his time in the House, voting for stricter vetting of refugees and receiving endorsements from the National Rifle Association. He shifted significantly to the left on guns and on other subject when he ran for governor in 2018.
He got more. He shifted. I thought it was gonna be he shifted more right on guns. He shifted more left.
Yeah, and he and
on the
he
restrictions,
and
I'm
Minnesota's
guessing.
Democratic legislature have enacted a sweeping progressive agenda.
Oh, great. Nothing says yum like a sweeping progressive
I'm almost
agenda.
surprised they put that one on.
They put it later in the list.
Number
though. They didn't
13,
want anybody to
though.
read it this far. I think.
He is a gun owner, though, and hunts pheasants and turkeys. He introduced the governor's turkey hunting opener to kick off the turkey hunting season in Minnesota and runs a similar event for the pheasant hunting season. I guarantee you he can't shoot peasants like I can, he said.
Peasants? Pheasants.
Oh, sorry, pheasants.
He can't shoot peasants like me. He's one of those guys who's like, guns
he
are...
said that to Mr. Vance. He said Vance can't shoot pheasants like he can.
Vance is like a Marine. I don't know. I don't know what the shooting training is for Marines, to be honest. Also, he's definitely one of those guys who's like, oh, guns are fine as long as you use them in restricted areas where, like, the government can control, like, the guns that you're allowed to use in those specific areas. Like, not in your home. God forbid you have a gun in the home.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Somebody breaks in, you don't...
I would be so scared.
Imagine you break into somebody's house and they have a gun. Like, what a tragedy.
That would suck. Every time I break into someone's house,
Like, if
I'm crossing my fingers that they don't have a gun.
If they have a gun, I'm like, okay, is the government doing their job? Why am I breaking into a home and they're able to potentially put a bullet in my arm?
He would be the third vice president from Minnesota. If he wins, he would be. That's a fact, I guess. That's worth posting.
So whatever, let's say there's been 47 presidents and 3 of the vice presidents were from Minnesota out of 50 states. It's not like it's not the most impressive thing I've ever heard. Like, why would you even list that? Like, they couldn't, wait, how many facts is this? 17?
19.
Why could they just make it 18 facts and leave that one off?
Because they were desperate.
Okay. I mean, it is a fact. I'll give them that.
He and his wife had their 2 children through in vitro fertilization.
I don't know if I want to know what that is.
It took 7 years.
Does this have something to do with his like gay agenda? Because I'm just wondering.
It took 7 years of fertility treatments for them to have their daughter, whom they named Hope. Mr. Walz spoke about the experience publicly after an Alabama Supreme Court ruling this year appended IVF treatment there. Okay, whatever.
They're going to tell us what that is.
It means turkey baster.
Oh, it's turkey baster stuff.
Okay, final 4. He coached the 1999 football state champions. He is
pretty far down.
Lutheran.
Minnesota Lutheran. For good Minnesota Lutherans, I have a rule. If you do something
Good?
and talk about it, it no longer, what? No longer counts. What is, wait,
You
what?
joked during a speech last spring. So what you have to do is get someone else to talk about it. I guess that means you just
That
can't.
means you get this article written.
Yeah. He doesn't drink after a DWI in 1995. He stopped drinking alcohol after he was pulled over for speeding in 1995 and failed a sobriety test. He was going 92 miles an hour. I saw this. They didn't list it here, but whatever. His wife told him at the time, "You have obligations to people. You can't make dumb choices."
But that doesn't say anything about Kamala Harris's ability to not drink and drive. We don't know what she's capable of.
That's true.
She's a booze hag, just to be clear. She's
Jesus.
a hip, whiny anti-mama.
He also does not drink coffee.
How dare you?
He
Now I can't
prefers-
trust him.
Okay, well, I was a little disappointed. They didn't list like his wife opening the window so she could smell the burning tires from the rioters back
That's
in
more a fact
2020.
about her, though.
Yeah, but they included her in several of these statements.
They didn't
about
mention him like basically sending old people to their death. Basically executing, indirect execution. Is that a thing? Where you basically just send somebody to die?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if the Trail of Tears is like, if that's like, oh, we got to blame the president for that, which is fair. I think sending old people to die should be just as fair as blaming Andrew Jackson. Why am I
Yeah.
blanking?
Yeah,
For some reason, Andrew Jackson, I thought Andrew Tate, not like I was like, wait, is that like an Andrew Tate ripoff? My most retarded take yet. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna trap old people with a bunch of sick people in a hospital because COVID's out there, guys. You're much better off clustered together. Old people are the most vulnerable, so we have to put them with the sick people because, can't have them watering down the vote. Sick stuff, man. Ugh. But, that doesn't matter. Not as much as a social media presence, am I right? Am I right? But
Well, that's it. That's
those
Tim Walz.
are 19 facts.
It was kind of boring.
Hey, listen,
and
man.
unimpressive.
After reading that, I'm voting for him, man. I'm not even voting for Kamala. I'm voting for him.
You'll write him in.
I'm gonna write him in. I'm not voting for Kamala like I was going to. That big, beautiful, wrinkly goddess. I mean, gosh, she looks like an earthworm with a wig.
An earthworm
And-
who's eaten a lot of dirt.
She looks like a drunk earthworm in a wig. And if you don't think that's beautiful, maybe you should get involved in like gay rights or something because you're gonna need them. Let me tell you what. Because if you don't think that's a beautiful woman, you might not be straight. That's all I'm saying. I'm just glad she picked this big, beautiful America's grandpa. Joe Biden was America's grandpa. This is like America's like step grandpa.
All right.
Because that's a good spot to end it. Next time,
Real next time?
Yeah,
Next time we'll be looking at the pros and cons of Kamala Harris.
unless something else comes up that we decide to do instead, then we won't do that next time.
Yes. So it's like a mystery next
Maybe
time.
next time will be the Taco Bell video.
That's very possible.
Well, you'll have to find out what happens next time. Leave a comment what happens next time.
Because we don't know yet.
Nobody knows
Let
what's
us
happening
know.
next. The world might burn.